Thank you for joining us and learning how to file a PA personal income tax return for free using the new myPATH portal. Please note, you may not be able to use myPATH if you are a non-resident of Pennsylvania, or if you are a Pennsylvania resident that does not have a driver's license or photo ID issued by Pennsylvania, unless you have filed a return with the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue in one of the 2 years prior to the year that you are filing. In addition, there are certain types of income, expenses, or credits that myPATH does not permit. The allowable types for myPATH will be covered in a few moments. If you are trying to file for an income type, expense, or credit that is not listed on the introduction screen, you will need to file a paper return or use another type of electronic filing method. To file a PA-40 via myPATH, you will need the primary taxpayer Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number and their full legal name. Once that information is entered, you will have two options to validate their identity. You can enter their Pennsylvania tax liability from line 12 of one of their two previous PA-40 personal income tax returns, or you can enter their birth date, Pennsylvania driver's license number, or photo ID number and expiration date. As a side note, if you recently moved to Pennsylvania, we ask that you please allow for up to 4 weeks from the date that your PA driver's license or photo ID was issued before attempting to use myPATH. To file your return, the first thing you need to do is type in mypath.pa.gov, which will take you directly to the myPATH portal. Submitting a personal income tax return can be done without creating a username or password. This is considered a non-logged-in feature, which you can access directly from the myPATH homepage. You'll scroll past the black login box at the top of the screen and find the panel that's labeled Returns. From the Returns panel, click on the hyperlink to file a PA personal income tax return and then select the link for the year in question. You will be taken to the introduction screen that tells you what types of filings myPATH can handle, along with what documentation that you should have available before you begin. As a word of caution, please use the previous and next buttons at the bottom of the screen to navigate and not the back and forward buttons in the web page toolbar at the top. If you wish to exit the return with the intention of completing it later, you will need to select the Save Draft button. If you wish to exit the return without saving your progress, you will need to click Cancel. Canceling will require you to start over from the beginning whenever you are ready to file. After reading the information on this screen, click the Next button to proceed. Here you will need to enter the primary taxpayer Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number. Then enter the last name. If you are filing an amended return for a return that was previously filed through myPATH, select Yes. If this is an original return being filed for this tax year, select No. You will then need to indicate if you filed a return for one of the prior 2 years. If you have, you will need to select the tax year you filed, then input the amount of liability from that year's return, which will be listed on line 12. If you did not file a return for the past 2 years, select No, and you will be prompted to enter the primary taxpayer's birth date, their PA driver's license or photo ID number, and the expiration date of their photo ID or driver's license. This can also be used as an alternative if you do not have your line 12 information from the previous year's PA-40. Next, you will need to fill out the taxpayer's residency status and filing status. If filing either married filing separate or married filing joint, an additional box will appear asking if the spouse is deceased. You will also need to indicate if the return you are filing is on behalf of a deceased taxpayer or if this is your final time filing a return in the state of Pennsylvania. Please note that if you are filing on behalf of a deceased taxpayer or a deceased spouse, you will need to input the date of the death before selecting Next. You will then need to fill in the remaining fields with the taxpayer's personal information, including the full name, email, and occupation, as well as the best phone number. Next, you'll need to fill in the address by entering the building number, street name, city, state, and zip code. You will need to click Verify Address. If you try to proceed without verifying the address first, you will receive an error message. If the address cannot be verified, you will receive a pop-up message asking that you review the information and try again. If the address that you type in is missing any information, you will be given different options to complete the transaction. In the example on the screen, the address includes an apartment number which was not included with the address information typed by the customer. Once successfully verified, a green banner will appear confirming the verification was complete. You will then need to select the county that the taxpayer resided in at the end of the year by using the drop-down box. Once selected, you will be prompted to enter in the municipality and school district in which the taxpayer lived. You may then select Next to proceed. From here, you simply follow the prompts regarding income. This is where you will need to refer to the W-2s, 1099s, and any other income statements that you may have received. Once you've selected the types of income that you will be reporting, you will be asked if there are any business expenses or credits that you are claiming, including any estimated payments made throughout the year or an extension credit. Depending on what income types and credits were entered, you will be prompted to enter additional details from those statements onto the screen so that the system can complete the appropriate PA schedules along with your return. Please be aware that addresses of employers will need to be verified using the Verify Address button. If you have more than one type of income statement, such as multiple W-2s, you can select Add at the top of the screen. Like the income screen, if you indicate that you have a business expense to report, you will be taken to a screen to enter the information. You will need to put in the information for the employer in which you are taking the expense. You will also need to specify what type of expenses you are taking and the amounts. In some cases, such as when taking an expense for union dues, you will be required to provide the union name and description. If you are taking expenses against more than one employer, you will need to go through this process for each employer. Next, you will need to follow the prompts to answer questions about what you want to do with your refund. If you choose to receive your refund via direct deposit, you will need to select either checking or savings and enter in your account and routing numbers. Depending on the income and deductions reported on the return, you may be required to provide additional documentation. The department encourages customers to provide their supporting documentation through the myPATH portal to help expedite the review process once the return is submitted. By providing this information with your submission, it is likely that examiners will not need to reach out for additional documentation should they have any questions. You can add documents by clicking the Add hyperlink above the attachment section. A pop-up box will appear where you will need to select the document type, add a brief description of what the attachment is, and then choose a file from your computer to upload as an attachment. Once your document is uploaded, you will see the information reflected in the attachment section of the screen. If you have more than one document you'd like to attach, you will need to repeat the process for each document. If you wish to remove an item, please click the Remove hyperlink. Once all information has been reported and supporting documents have been uploaded, you will be taken to the final review screen. Please scroll down the page and review all the line items and figures to ensure accuracy before submitting. If you see something that needs changed, please use the Previous button at the bottom of the screen until you get to the section that needs to be corrected. If everything on the screen looks accurate, please click Submit to complete the filing of your return. After submitting, you will be taken to a confirmation screen which provides a confirmation code and date submitted. This code will also be sent to the email address provided, which is reflected on the screen. You will want to keep this confirmation code should you ever need to check the status, delete, or print a copy of this return at a later time. If you are simply looking for the status of your refund, you may use the Where's My Refund hyperlink on the myPATH homepage. Please see our other 411 video on how to check the status using the Where's My Refund hyperlink available on our revenue homepage.